Shalom, 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 Yasha Allah. All praises to Yahweh. By Shema Mashiach Yahushai. Just want to say shalom and do a late night impromptu video for y'all real quick. All right. I just noticed today, earlier today, it was okay. Shalom, back on. They said my connection is weak, so if I get turned off, y'all just tune in and I'll try to get back on. All right, hallelujah. Let me get this up a little bit more here. Could that be a bit down is a little bit better. Salakia, bear with me. Okay. All right, Shalom, Yashala. We're going to still try this again. Shalom, Z. Yeah, earlier today, well, yesterday now, but it's still considered, part of the day. December 7th, 1941, and today, okay, maybe that's better. It's still saying connection is weak. It's 12 a.m. here, Sister Yasha Allah. Just through the spirit, I was up a little late organizing some things, so the spirit just jumped on me. Somebody sent me an article earlier, and the spirit came upon me to just do an impromptu live video on a late night. I haven't been live in a while, so I like to talk about stuff going on in the world, current events or whatever. But tonight I'm going to talk about the it's the 75th. And well, it was the 75th anniversary of the Pearl Harbor attacks, where the Japanese, basically they were allowed, if you study the whole conspiracy of World War II and how World War II came about. And I want to touch on that a little bit, but it's actually another point I want to make about our people. All right. World War II, the bombing of Pearl Harbor, the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, that was all a conspiracy to try to start the New World Order back then. All right, they were using Hitler and everything. But I want to make another point concerning that. But yeah, today marked the 75th anniversary of the Pearl Harbor attacks, in which there's a lot of information out there where FDR was privy. He purposely set up the United States military in, put their ships, their navy and their ships over there to be purposely attacked by the Japanese. They knew the Japanese were going to attack them. I'm going to play a video later that's going to touch on some points concerning that. But I really want to touch on, you see how the white man doesn't let anything go. They never forget. They always, have it in their memory, things of that nature. We need to take a page from this devil's book and never forget. And I want to play another video in a little while of, that's what really motivated me to do this. I mean, I knew it was the 75th anniversary of the Pearl Harbor attacks and what happened with World War II and FDR, Truman, and that whole era. But there was an article that was sent to me by a sister, and in this article, it was talking about the reaction of Walter Scott's mother to the mistrial. All right, and then y'all with the familiar with the case down in Charleston, South Carolina, the same place where they shot up the church, Dylan Roof, or Dylan, tomato, Dylan Roof shot up the church and killed the 9 black people down in Charleston, South Carolina. Where this cop, Michael Slager, everybody saw the video. Walter Scott was running away, and he shot him in the back. All right, which that's gonna happen. That's part of prophecy. The Most High said that was gonna happen, and He's gonna continue to let that happen because we're in our punishment right now. All right, this is more so a commentary video, but I'll grab a few scriptures in a moment. But this sister said some kind of deep. It wasn't the regular reaction that I figured would come from Negroes when there's a mistrial or there's something declared in a case, and he say, well, like in the Dylan Roof case, one of the parents, one of the mothers of the people that were murdered immediately said, oh, we forgive him. Before any trial, before anything, oh, we forgive him. We know he's sorry, or whatever. So I was actually shocked to see the reaction that I saw from this elderly sister and how she put the Most High first. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick, matter of fact, and play it for y'all. Where y'all can hear me. So this is indicative of the times that we're living in. So here's the mother of Walter Scott speaking after the trial in which they found they declared it a mistrial in the Michael Slager case in the killing of Walter Scott, the black man that was running away from the cop, and the cop shot him. Everybody's seen the video, very graphic video. That's why, I always say this, but that's why I'm so much of a conspiracy person sometimes, because it would almost make you believe that they're staging this stuff. It's like, I know Israel, our people are that finished, but it's so blatant and obvious now, it would almost make you believe that they're staging these shootings, which they don't have to. Our people are dead asleep. They don't have to stage these shootings. They can actually just do this to our people and get away with it. But on a conspiracy level, it makes you suspicious, as if to say, is as if they're staging these. We're going to show them we're shooting a black man in the back right on live camera, and let's see if they'll get angry or react to it. Let's see if we can spark a race war with that. I mean, it's horrendous how I believe this stuff could be true. I believe it could be staged in a conspiracy also. It's either way with me, but it's amazing how they could do this, whether staged or not. They make you think it's real if it's staged, but more likely than not, let's say for argument's sake, it's real. They really blatantly shot this brother in the back on national TV. And you got our people that would say, let's forget about slavery. All white people are not bad. We got to still learn to get along in America. We got to, I saw a Donald Trump rally or speech today, and he had a black man and a black woman behind him in the audience cheering him on. Now, I know sarcastically, I've said to myself, well, I'm going to vote for Trump. I'm going to go to Trump's inauguration and cheer him on. But I say that to say I'm supporting Trump because I know he's going to turn things up and get this thing pumping. A lot of our people are supporting Trump in a coon way. All right? They're a bunch of, let's go to Proverbs 17 and 15. This is how they're supporting Trump. And I'm going to show you how all this ties in together and what it has to do with the 75th anniversary of Pearl Harbor being bombed. All right? Because Esau doesn't forget anything. It could be 750 years from now. He's not going to forget. So we shouldn't forget as a people. We should want vengeance. We should want payback. Look what happened to them. When they let the Japanese bomb Pearl Harbor, what did they do? They turned around. They was loving it. The so-called white man, they was drooling. Because what? They wanted to test out that atomic bomb, that A-bomb. The Manhattan Project. They wanted an excuse to test out that nuclear bomb of that day, or what I'll call it. All right? But you Negroes, you want to forget, you want to compromise, you want to march, sing, dance. When the so-called white man, he never forgets. And he bombed the hell out of the Japanese, put them in internment camps and everything. Granted, later on, he gave them reparations. I think it was $20,000 or $22,000 dollars per Japanese family that was affected by the war, whatever. You know, but it just goes to show they don't forget, so we should never forget. And they're giving us excuses not to forget. Let me play this video before I even read the scripture. Let me play this video of the sister. All right, this is what Walter Scott's mother said after the declared it was a mistrial.
I would like to say good evening to all of you. And today, I'm not sad. And I want you to know why I'm not sad. Because Jesus is on the inside. And I know that justice will be served because the God that I serve, he's able. He told me to wait on the Lord and be of good courage. And God, he is strengthening my heart.
Right, so she's right about that. So far, the sister's on point. You know, she doesn't really say anything amiss in this, you know. She's just basically saying they think they got away with it, but the so-called white man's not going to get away with it. Matter of fact, let's get that. Before I go to Proverbs, this is 2 Maccabees 7. This is 2 Maccabees 7 and 31. This is when this sister was tortured with her 7 sons for not eating swine's flesh and partaking of the feast of Bacchus. I believe it was the Roman, the Greek god. They wouldn't partake of the feast and eat the swine's flesh, so they would rather be tortured by the Greeks and their army rather than to defile the Most High's law and eat the swine's flesh. But this is what she said before she died. 2 Maccabees 7:31, and thou that hast been the author of all mischief against the Hebrews shall not escape the hands of Yahweh. Verse 32, for we suffer because of our sins. So this is similar to what this sister is saying right here, Walter Scott's mother. So the sister may be coming from a Christian aspect, but this is, at least our people should be like this. You know, when something happens to us, we shouldn't forget, and we should say, okay, if anything, the Most High going to judge y'all. He going to deal with y'all. All right? Because the so-called white man doesn't forget. 75 years later, they're going to remember their Pearl Harbor, in which Pearl Harbor was set up so they can enter World War II when you do the research. Y'all can do the homework on your own. You can type in and
God
Google.
is my strength.
Hold on, wait. Salakia, you can type in and Google, you know, Pearl Harbor, Roosevelt, FDR knew. He allowed the attack to go down so they can purposely enter World War II. All right, but let me read on. It says 2 Maccabees 7 and 32. For we suffer because of our sins. And though the living Lord be angry with us a little while for our chastening and correction, that's why this is happening to our people also. You're getting shot in the back on live camera and nothing's being done about it. It says, yet shall he be at one again with his servants, meaning the children of Israel. Because it tells you in Exodus, the 2nd chapter, that the children of Israel are the servants of the Most High. Right? So the Most High is going to be at one with us again. And at least to a certain degree, some of our people, the Spirit is on them to at least say the Most High going to get the judgment. We're not going to forget. We're not going to let this go. We're going to remember this through the Spirit. And the Most High, the Mashiach Yahushua, is going to get vengeance. At least let us be in that mind frame, because the so-called white man, he forgets nothing. Not his Pearl Harbor, not his D-Day, his World War I, World War II, Revolutionary War. All these different wars. War of 1812, Civil War. He's not forgetting none of that. When he came and conquered us He's not forgetting any of that. So we got to have the same mind frame. Let's finish listening to the sister. This is the mother of Walter Scott after the declaration of the mistrial in the Charleston, South Carolina, in a blatant and on camera shooting by Michael Slager in his back. All right, so let me play it on.
And I know without a doubt that he is a just God, and injustice will not prevail.
All right, let me stop it right there because Micah said that. Matter of fact, Nahum said that. Let's go to Nahum, the 3rd chapter. So, the sister is speaking in the spirit. At least, she's not cooning and saying, well, we got to forgive him and, the Lord and we all one people. Let me see what I want here. Zephaniah, matter of fact. Zephaniah 3. Zephaniah 3 and 5. So she just said through the spirit that, right? Oh yeah, Micah just put up a article about the island of Pearl is still uninhabitable. All right. He put a link. Y'all can look at the link that he put up about how the island of Pearl is still uninhabitable. Okay. Radiation Island exceeds safety standards nearly 60 years after nuclear tests. Yeah. All right. Good information, Brother Micah. Zephaniah 3 and 5. It says, the just Lord is in the midst thereof. He will not do iniquity. Every morning doeth he bring his judgment to light. He faileth not, but the unjust knoweth no shame. So they don't know no shame. They keep killing us, murdering us, and we want to forget. But the Most High put a spirit on his sister to speak in the spirit about how we're not giving this up. We're not forgetting because we know the just Lord. We know the Lord is just. So obviously, like I said, she's probably a Christian or something. And she's probably coming from a Christian standpoint. But at least this is the mind frame our people should be in. Because Esau's not forgetting anything. That's how this relates to this whole 75th anniversary of Pearl Harbor. Like I said, we can get into FDR being warned, the conspiracy of how this whole thing was set up. Just like the Gulf of Tonkin incident with that the United States faked to get into war with Vietnam. It's different case scenarios, just like 9/11. Pearl Harbor was not the 9/11 of 1941. Because when you check out Pearl Harbor, what happened, there was over 200 military aircraft that was destroyed and over 2,400 deaths. So I believe personally that the United States sacrificed their own military so they can get into World War II and use the atomic bomb and go after France, Germany, and Japan at the same time. Because France and Germany were allies with Japan at the time, I believe. So it was all, part of them trying to bring in a new world order back then. That's when they brought in Hitler. All right, but, it didn't work. It wasn't time. The Most High didn't allow it back then. But after that, of course, is when they brought in the League of Nations. They set up the State of Israel, and there was a pivotal time in the mid-1900s in America. All right, but tying that into what I'm saying about this whole Walter Scott case is we got to have a spiritual, mental, physical, and also military type of mind frame. At least let's have the mind. Even his sister is showing. She reminds me of what I'm reading here with this sister in 2 Maccabees. She's saying, look, although you're killing me and my sons right now, you're not going to escape the hand of the God of the Hebrews. And that's what Zephaniah is saying right here. So we got to have that same mind frame. The white man don't let nothing go. 75 years later, he's letting you know that I'm not forgetting about Pearl Harbor. Because Pearl Harbor in World War II is the prelude to World War III. To answer your question, Brother Christian Martinez, yes, World War III is coming. The Cold War basically started after World War II. And then it heightened up with Kennedy in the 60s and Castro, the Cuban Missile Crisis, the whole Bay of Pigs thing when they wanted Kennedy. See, this all ties in together, and we're all around that time of the year. Notice you had Trump getting elected. You had the anniversary of Kennedy's assassination, November 22nd. You had the death of Castro, the ending of November. And now you got the anniversary of Pearl Harbor, which all that time frame and all that tied into each other when you check out the history. It all tied into each other when you go in depth into the history because it was all prophecy.
God I serve,
Just
I
like
know he's able.
Salakia. Just like that book, Satan's Angels Exposed. All right, that book, Satan's Angels Exposed by Corbin Benson. I think I'm saying the author's name correct, but when y'all look it up, it'll give you the correct pronunciation and name of the author. It tells you all 3 world wars were plotted from the 1800s by the Rothschilds and the other ruling families. But they did that. Why? Because it was to go with biblical prophecy. So once again, you might be saying, well, how does this tie into the whole Walter Scott, Michael Slager case? We have to be, if this sister, his mother, can still have that mind frame that at least say the Lord, the just Lord is going to get vengeance for us. We have to be in that same mind frame. Because the so-called white man, he's not going to forget nothing. He didn't forget about the Levi. When Levi, the so-called Haitians under Toussaint, some history and information tells you they were using voodoo and witchcraft, but they overthrew the French and chased them off the damn island. But the white man didn't forget that. He's still at war with Haiti till this day. Everything he's still doing in Haiti is because of his pride of losing and being kicked the hell out under Toussaint. So he's still fighting. So we have to be the same way with our enemies, spiritually and mentally first, but it has to come down into the physical, and we have to pray that the Most High gets vengeance for us. All right. Let me go back. Let me read 2 Maccabees 7 again, straight through. Then I'm gonna jump to Zephaniah 3:5 on down, and then I'm gonna get back to this sister, listening to this what this sister's bringing out. It says that, and thou that hast been the author of all mischief against the Hebrews, shalt thou not escape the hands of Yahweh? So they're not going to escape the hands of the Most High Power Yahweh. So this is what this sister is saying. Even though you shot my son in the back, you're not going to escape the hand of the God that I serve. So we have to be in the same mind frame, right? You think the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor and a white man said, okay, we're going to march now. We're going to look for you. No. He's the biggest hypocrite when it comes to that. I remember Tavis Smiley was on Fox with Sean Hannity, that racist Sean Hannity, or one of them. I think it was Hannity, Bill O'Reilly, one of them. I did a video on that during the Trayvon Martin killing. And Tavis Smiley said, I know the solution. Just arm every black American. And then you cops and racists would think twice about shooting and killing us. And then Sean Hannity going to say, or Bill O'Reilly, I forget which one. He's going to say, I think that's a little bit extreme, Tavis. But wait a minute. Every time, so let's say it was extreme for the so-called white, which it really was extreme, for the so-called white man to set off for Truman, little innocent Truman. Everybody thought Truman was a little innocent guy, the happy guy, the nice guy. That's why Jim Carrey made that movie, The Truman Show. It's kind of almost like a mockery of, even though the plot goes into other things, but it's almost a mockery of, everybody thought Truman was a nice guy. No, Truman bombed the hell out of Hiroshima and Nagasaki and damn near wiped them off they still suffering from radiation problems in Japan also. Brother Micah brought up the article about them suffering in the island of Pearl, but also they suffering in Japan. And so the injury, they had that tsunami in Japan, and it destroyed their nuclear. It blew up and exploded their nuclear reactors, and Japan is still suffering from nuclear waste also today. All right, but how does this tie back into what I'm speaking about? We have to have that same mind frame. Not for when our enemies, even though we can't do anything now, but at least have the mind frame. You know, I'm glad this sister didn't just coon out and get up there and start singing a Negro spiritual. Start singing a damn Negro spiritual and cooning, man. I'm glad the sister didn't do that. You know, at least she spoke through the spirit. Let's at least have that mind frame. Like the sister is saying here in 2 Maccabees 7:31-33. You think you're going to get away with all this against our people, but the Most High is going to pay you back. The so-called white man said to the Japanese, you think you're going to get away with bombing Pearl Harbor, even though we sacrificed our own soldiers so we can enter World War II? No, he didn't say that. He went over there and bombed the hell out of them and tested out his Manhattan Project, his miniature, his pre-nuclear bomb back then, his atomic bomb back then. So we got to get out of that mind frame. The Most High said, we are his battle axe and weapons of war. Get ready for war, Israel. Spiritually, mentally, and eventually physically when the Most High give us the power. Stop cooning. Because Esau's not going to say, oh, you bombed Pearl Harbor. It's okay. Esau will sacrifice his own citizens and people so he can enter World War III and be a damn nutcase and test out that hydrogen bomb. Why do you think they videotaped it? Why do you think it's videotape footage of the hydrogen bomb dropped on Hiroshima? Because Esau was waiting for that. He said, yes, I got an excuse now. They knew they couldn't, just like 9/11, they knew they really couldn't go into another unjust war with Afghanistan, so they had to make an excuse. They had to sacrifice 4,000 of their own American citizens, just like they did on Pearl Harbor, because yes, when you check out the evidence, FDR knew the attack. He allowed the attack to go happen. They purposely cut off the communication with the Japanese so they couldn't communicate and have their peace talks. All right, it kind of in a roundabout way reminds me of the movie Crimson Tide. You know, in a roundabout way, you know, kind of sort of a similar plot where, you know, they felt that they were attacked by a Russian submarine, and Denzel was like, well, wait, maybe it was a mistake. But Gene Hackman was like, no, they attacked us. It's time to go to nuclear war. And Denzel was like, oh, man, we're going to be responsible for 3 billion, you know, deaths or whatever, something like that. I'm paraphrasing the movie, but, you know, it kind of in a roundabout reminds me of that, all this, you know, different war talk and nuclear energy or whatever. So, reading on, it says, for we suffer because of our sins. What we going through as a people, we suffer because of our sins, but we have to know and understand that the enemy is still going to be judged for what he's doing to us. We got to have that mind frame. It says, and though the living Lord be angry with us a little while for our chastening and correction, yet shall he be at one again with his servants. All right, so even though we going through all this hell, the Most High is going to be back with Israel once again as a nation. That's what this sister going to say, but I want to read. She just made that comment about she believes in a just Lord that's going to get revenge for her son. So Michael Slager may have gotten away with the trial, and Esau's just doing that to provoke us. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if half these shootings are staged. But our people are so ignorant and blind, Esau don't have to stage it. He can just blatantly do it. Like the killing of the brother Joe McKnight by that white supremacist that shot him and killed him, and they said taunted his body, stood over him and taunted his body. And said, I told you don't F with me. It probably said, I told you don't F with me, nigger. The correction officer in New York City, the correction officer that got the brakes beat the hell off of him. He was trying to tell the white cops, I'm one of y'all. And they beat the hell out of this correction officer out there in Long Island in New York. Or what about the 19-year-old brother that recently got shot in Chicago, unarmed? The police lied and said he pulled out a gun and they shot him and killed him. So it's so phenomenal that it's like, well, is this being staged? Is it even real? Even though you can understand it is real because our people are so desensitized and so caught up in Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Christmas holiday, that they don't even see what the devil is doing to them blatantly. That brother Joe McKnight is gone, man. He's gone. By white supremacists, now They had him in custody, then they let him go. Now they supposedly charging him with a manslaughter or whatever. But it's just blatant evil racism against our people. All right? Yeah. Like Brother Micah said, we got to take the kingdom by force. But check out what... No, let me read Zephaniah. Salakia. Zephaniah 3 and 5. The just Lord is in the midst thereof. He will do no iniquity. Right? So this sister just said the same thing. She said, we serve a God that's just. And a God that I know is going to, take care of the situation. At least the elderly Christian sister got that mind frame. Let's get some backbone. All right? It says, every morning doeth he bring his judgment to light. He faileth not, but the unjust knoweth no shame. I have cut off the nations. Their towers are desolate. I made their streets waste, that none passeth by their cities. Their cities are destroyed, so that there is no man, that there is none inhabitant. I said, surely thou wilt fear me. Thou wilt receive instruction, so their dwelling shall not be cut off. Howsoever I punished them, but they rose early and corrupted all their doing. See that? So the Lord said, what? We got to basically, he was rebuking Israel and the nations for going against him. Right? And he said he was going to bring his judgment upon us. But the 5th verse says, the just Lord is in the midst thereof. He will do no iniquity. Every morning doeth he bring his judgment to light. He faileth not. So the Most High going to bring his judgment, and he's the just Lord in the midst thereof. So let's finish listening to what this sister is saying. At least she didn't coon out, man. Thank the Lord for that.
We are surrounded by a cloud of witnesses from days past and gone. And what God did for them back then, he'll do the...
So she's quoting from the book of Hebrews. All right, let's go to Hebrews. Everything this sister, she's quoting scripture. This is good. Finally, to see an elderly. So that's why I compared it to the story in Maccabees, because it's kind of the similar spirit. Like this sister, I think some of the scholars said her name was actually Judith also, I think, or Susanna, one of them. I will have to look at it again, right? But this particular Israelite sister that died with her 7 sons, she got the same mind frame. You killing me and my sons now, but there's a just God that's going to get vengeance for the Hebrews. All right, he's going to get vengeance and punish the enemy. So she's quoting from Hebrews 12, I believe it is. Let's go to Hebrews, the 12th chapter, I believe she's quoting from, and the 1st verse. All right. Salakia, y'all, it's actually almost 1 a.m. on West Coast time. I know it's 4 a.m. for y'all on East Coast time. But I was up a little late doing some organizing, and the spirit just jumped on me. This sister sent me this article, this video actually, and I was thinking about Pearl Harbor all day because I was seeing it on the news. I actually want to do a quick impromptu video really going more into that, because there's a lot of deep information with Pearl Harbor itself. But the spirit just let me, look at how we in a time where we should be contemplating and thinking on vengeance. We should be thinking on vengeance, man. And judgment that the Most High going to bring. Even this sister is uttering that. And she's more likely than not an elderly Southern Christian. And them elderly Southern Christians are normally cooned out. But the Most High said in Joel, he going to pour his spirit out on all flesh. All right, so where were we? Hebrews 12 and 1. Wherefore, seeing we are also compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which doeth so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us. So that's what the scripture that the sister's quoting. She's basically saying, we're compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, meaning the angels. The Most High is watching. So that links right up with what the sister said in the Maccabees, that you think you're getting away with it, but the God of the Hebrews is watching. So that's what this sister's saying here. We're compassed about with a great cloud of witnesses. So the so-called white man think he's getting away with what he's doing to us, But the Most High, Yahweh Shah, and the angels are going to remember, and they're going to bring the warfare. They're going to bring that World War II, World War III to be specific, with Yahweh Shah, the angels, and the chariots. But even like Esau brought the nuclear bomb, the atomic bomb during World War II after the Japanese attacked them. He fought back. So where's the fight back in our people? Even though we can't do it now, at least have the mind frame. Even this sister is showing that. Hell, she might be Judith back on the earth today. No, I'm just kidding. I don't want to start no confusion with the regeneration. But I'm just being facetious. But at least her spirit is right. She didn't get up there and coon.
For me, I trust God. I believe God. I am encouraged because I know
everything she's saying in scripture.
He will get his just reward. And we have the federal trial and another trial to go. I'm just waiting on the Lord. I'm just going to rest in the Lord.
Okay, now right there, now she threw a little slight monkey wrench in there. The reason why I say that is because she said we have 2 more trials. Now, the sister's probably saying, well, however the vengeance is going to come, the Most High is going to bring it. Maybe he's going to bring it through the trials. we have to understand something. Psalms 89 and 14. Let's get Psalms 89 and 14. And she still put the Most High in there. But more likely than not, it's not going to happen through the white man's court system. Now, you know how these police officers been getting judged lately? If y'all been paying attention to the news, Salakia, I've been meaning to do more up-to-date videos about the current events. It's so much going on. But, it just happens. Sometimes life just takes over. We always doing the work, but it just happens. We human. But if y'all notice in the month of November and in October and some of the summer months, there's been a lot of white cops getting killed, shot or killed, but they've been getting killed by white suspects. So you know what the Most High is doing? Isaiah 49:26. I will feed them that oppress thee with their own flesh, and they shall be drunken with their own blood as with sweet wine, saith the Lord. He's making them kill each other. And you're not hearing too much about it on the news. You're not seeing protests and march and white lives matter, blue lives matter, because it's white on white crime. They're actually ashamed of that. And deep down in their spirit, especially their top witches and warlocks, they know that's the Most High judging them back, because the vengeance is not coming from our people. So he got them bringing a vengeance upon each other for all the killing they're doing of our people. Check it out. A lot of white officers been shot, killed, ambushed, injured, and about 90% of the suspects are white men. But you ain't going to see that on 6 o'clock news, because they don't want to demonize themselves like they so used to demonizing us. See that? So, where were we? In Psalms. All right. What was I quoting? We're going to the book of Psalms, where we got to understand the Most High is the one that's, the one that's going to bring this judgment and this punishment upon those that are oppressing our people. Psalms 89:14. Okay, so I lost my train of thought for a minute, but I got it back. Spirit popped it back into my mind. So the sister said, like I said, I understand that she's saying we're going to wait on the Lord, but more likely than not, it's not going to come through the white man's court system. It's going to come through this. Psalms 89:14. And it reads, justice and judgment are the habitation of thy throne. Mercy and truth shall go before thy face. All right. So it says justice and judgment are the habitation of the Lord's throne. Sometimes his judgment and justice is not our judgment and justice. Who are we? He's going to bring it the way he's going to bring it. You can march, Black Lives Matter, flip out, F Donald Trump. Like last month when I was in Chicago when Trump got elected, and they had that they had that Trump march in Chicago. I ran upon that wild march, and they were out there F Donald Trump. That ain't going nowhere. The Most High going to bring his form of justice, and he's been doing it by having these crazy white men kill their families, other Edomites, and kill police. That's the judgment. That's the justice and the judgment of the Most High's throne. So while the system, she still means well because she's still putting the judgment in the hands of the Most High. But more likely than not, it's not coming through no court system. All right, let's go on.
I'm going to rest in the Lord, because you see, the reason why I can speak like I am, because the joy of the Lord is my strength. And
all right, we're going to stop there. Let's go to Psalms 30. Everything she's saying is scripture. All right, we're going to go to Psalms 30 and 5. She said the Lord is her joy. All right, it says Psalms 30, we're going to start at 4 to get the understanding. Psalms 30 and 4. Sing unto Yahweh, O ye saints of his. And we know the saints are the Israelites. Pursuant to Psalms 50 and 5, Leviticus 1, verses 1 and 2, and Psalms 148. Psalms 148 and 14. All right, and also Psalms 149, I believe, verse 2. All right, the saints are the Israelites. So Psalms 30 and 4 again. Sing unto Yahweh, O ye saints of his, and give thanks at the remembrance of his holiness. For his anger endureth but a moment. All right, y'all can link this up with Psalms 30 and 5 with 2 Maccabees 7 and 33. Where the sister said, and though the living Lord be angry with us a little while. Right? So here in Psalms 30 and 5 it says, for his anger endureth but a moment, in his favor is life. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. So basically that's what the Spirit is saying. Everything the sister is saying is scriptorial. She's on point. This elderly sister, this I believe mother of Walter Scott, she's on point. You know, and what she's saying, and she basically saying the Most High is going to get vengeance. All right? So let's go on.
I've been born again. I've been washed in the blood of the Lamb. And there's something about Jesus when he's on the inside. I fear not. I don't care what man say. I don't care how it looks. It's not over. Y'all hear me? It's not over. So God say it's over.
Okay, so that's basically, the sister has spoken. All right, she has spoken. She said it's not over till the Most High say it's over. So basically, that's in the spirit what she's saying now. She said Jesus is in her body. I hope she's not talking about white Jesus or color don't matter. Because you still got that little, coon element sometimes for my people. But that's why I titled this live video 75th anniversary of Pearl Harbor attacks. Never forget. But it's really for our people to never forget. All right, it's really for Israel to say, look, enough is enough. And even if, like I have to reiterate, we know we don't have the power to go out and take physical vengeance right now, but at least let's have the mind frame. We just showed it in scripture. The just Lord, he's going to give vengeance. Zephaniah, Psalms 30. We might weep now, but joy is going to come when we see the victory and the vengeance. All right. 2 Maccabees, the Lord is angry with us a little while, but he going to chastise you. So that's the mind frame. Let's at least be in a mind frame of never forgetting, and whenever the Most High give us the power, attack our enemies back. Just like Esau did it. They allowed the Japanese to. Matter of fact, let me pull that video up real quick. Let me show y'all a quick video. I'm not going to stay too long on this. Y'all can do y'all in-depth research on what really happened with Pearl Harbor. But I'm going to show y'all a quick, let me pull up a quick video. And show you what some of the evidence shows where Roosevelt, FDR, knew that the fleet was going to be attacked in Japan so they could enter World War II. All right, let me play some clips from this short video. All right. All right. So don't be mad at me, y'all, when y'all see the title of the video. But this is really for our people to still to have that same mind frame. You know? I just had the video earlier. I'm trying to pull it up. Bear with me, y'all. Alright. Let me try to search again. Alright. It was a video I was watching earlier, Salakia. Trying to pull it up. I should have saved it. Okay, there it is. It says, did FDR have prior knowledge of Pearl Harbor? So let's play this a little bit, y'all. And just get some of the insight on that.
Is it a force of
nature? And I'm not mad at Esau.
The season about e-sales event is here.
Esau.
Cover your first month's lease payment on select models.
This commercial about
e-sales.
Well, here it is, y'all.
Yesterday, December 7th,
see if I can show it to y'all a little bit.
1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan.
On the 7th of December, 1941, the United...
Now, let me stop right there. Notice what he said. Notice what FDR said. He said, yes, December 7th, 1941, of Day of Infamy, when our forces was deliberately attacked by the Japanese because they knew they were in on the whole thing. So they can provoke World War II. They knew they had to have something to galvanize the people to get them to accept them using the atomic bomb. Nobody's stupid. You know what I'm saying? When you research this thing got so many holes in it like Swiss cheese. But let me let y'all listen to some of the evidence yourself.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan.
On the 7th of December, 1941, the United States was shaken to its core when the Japanese launched a surprise military strike on their naval base at Pearl Harbor. The attack destroyed almost 200 US aircraft and killed 2,400 Americans. 24 hours after the attack, Congress reversed its political position of neutrality in the conflict raging across the rest of the world.
Under the Statue of Liberty, 1,200 young Americans are marching, the latest batch of recruits to the United States Air Forces.
It declared war on the Empire of Japan.
So see right there, it says America was remaining neutral. Oh yeah, the Reichstag building, Hitler burnt down the Reichstag building. Yeah. See, all purpose situations that was purposely done so they can have reasons to go to war with their own citizens. Remember, read about Nero Caesar. Nero Caesar burnt down Rome and blamed it on the Christians. So he can persecute and kill the Christians because the Christians was getting too popular in the Roman Empire. But Yahushua prophesied that would happen. He said, when they persecute you in this city, flee to another. All right? He said that's going to happen. All right? But let's go on in here.
Notably leading to war with Japan's allies, Germany and Italy.
No, I want to make a point. It says they changed their position of New Japan because they knew. Okay, there we go, y'all. We're back on reconnecting. Okay, so they knew. Basically, they knew. They allowed the Japanese to attack Pearl Harbor so they can enter into World War II. So now they got their reasoning. All right? Let's listen to this some more.
Japanese and the Nazis a little idea of just what they accomplished in the attack at Pearl Harbor.
The events of Pearl Harbor became an important fixture in American war propaganda. But the question surrounding how Japan managed to launch a secret attack on an American naval base persisted. In 1944, journalist John T. Flynn argued that, shockingly, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt had prior knowledge of the attack, but let it happen in order to justify America entering the Second World War. In 2001, former sailor Robert Stinnett claimed to have uncovered evidence that the Roosevelt administration deliberately provoked and allowed the Japanese to attack Pearl Harbor
Listen carefully,
in order
y'all.
to bring the USA into the World War.
Unfortunately, Americans made the mistake that we have made so often. The mistake of assuming that the Axis won't drop bombs on a nation with whom they are at peace.
Stinnett argues that America had broken Japan's secret naval code as early as 1940 and was able to intercept Japanese transmissions. Therefore, American intelligence was aware of the impending attack. But Stinnett's claim is dismissed by historians who have shown that Japan's messages couldn't be decrypted by the time of the attack. Even if the US hadn't managed to learn about Japan's imminent attack by deciphering coded messages, Stinnett also claims that radio signals from the approaching Japanese fleets as they crossed the Pacific Ocean would have been detected early on by US intelligence. He says this information was deliberately not passed on to the naval officers stationed at Pearl Harbor. But this theory has also been discredited. Surviving officers from the Japanese strike force have testified that all of the radio transmitters aboard their ships and airplanes were disabled to ensure that the fleet remained radio silent. He also argues that America moved their naval base to the Pacific Ocean in order to lure the Japanese into attacking it. Historian Mark Perillo emphasizes the strategic importance of Pearl Harbor being located in the Pacific. Since Japan was set on a course of conquering territories in the Pacific, Perillo says that Roosevelt have been foolish to sacrifice one of the major instruments needed to win the war just to get the United States into it. So while most scholars, including CIA historian Donald Sturry, dismiss Stinnett's claims as baseless, there does nevertheless appear to be evidence that the USA's increasingly harsh sanctions against Japan strained their relationship to the point of inevitable conflict between the two powers. Diary entries by the United States Secretary of War, Henry L. Stimson, detail a revealing meeting with the president. The diary records that just 10 days before the attack, Roosevelt pondered how to maneuver the Japanese into the position of firing the first shot without allowing America to engage themselves. In reviewing his diary after the war, Stimson revealed that the commanders at Pearl Harbor had been warned of the possibility of attack, and that he was surprised at how unprepared the Navy base was in the case of the attack. The theory that Roosevelt had advanced knowledge of the attack on Pearl Harbor has been rejected by mainstream historians. But an authorized Congress investigation into how the Japanese managed to ambush Pearl Harbor, known as the Clausen Inquiry, found that Roosevelt's government underestimated Japan's capabilities and intentions, and lacked the adequate intelligence necessary to fully prepare the Army and Navy for an attack. However, 75 years later, many of the documents relating to the Pearl Harbor attack still remain classified, whilst others were destroyed during the war. With so much obscurity still surrounding the Japanese attack, we may never know the extent to which FDR had prior knowledge of Pearl Harbor. Hi everyone, Robin here. What do you think? Did FDR have prior knowledge of Pearl Harbor, and did he let it happen? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Also, I want to give a big thanks to Chris Simpson, who suggested this video via our Patreon account. So thanks Chris, hope you enjoyed the video.
Right, so I just let it play through, y'all. This is a short video, like 6 minutes. All you have to do is type in Pearl Harbor was an inside job, or FDR knew Pearl Harbor was going to be attacked, or whatever. But if y'all listen carefully to the video, y'all can be able to play it back. Even though this is live, this will be on my wall, though. But if you listen close to the video, they told on themselves. The United States government told on themselves by what? Destroying any documents from back during that time and having them classified, having the rest of the documents classified in this time. What are you hiding? What are you hiding? All right, so let me read two scriptures, then I'm going to just widen it down. Luke 12:2. Let's get Luke 12:2. So it definitely was an inside job so they can enter into World War II. They allowed and sacrificed 2,400, 2,500, 3,000, however many American soldiers and lives were destroyed on that day so they can get into World War II and attack Japan and test that hydrogen bomb out on Japan. All right, which we don't give a damn about the Japanese, but it just show you the white man's the devil. You know, Genesis 27:40, he don't bear the sword in vain. All right, he don't bear that sword in vain. So this is Luke chapter 12 and verse 2. All right, that's the Most High bringing it out. Luke chapter 12 verse 2. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. Sometimes when you try to hide things, you make them known. Because people are going to be like, well, what are you hiding for? If there's transparency, now I can see when there's things that's just like, look, this is none of your business. You don't, there's nothing foul being done, but you just don't have to know. Or it's above your pay grade, as Esau would say. But why are you hiding? If there's suspicion that Roosevelt knew and you sacrificed these American lives so you can get into World War II, why hide the documents? Why destroy the documents? Wouldn't you want that history to still investigate today? Where did we go wrong? And why wouldn't the United States Navy be prepared for an attack by the Japanese? Especially if their ships were coming in advance or whatever. Their bombers or whatever. Why wouldn't you be a little bit better equipped to defend yourselves? I know there's probably 1,000 excuses you have, but as we can see, you sacrifice your own American soldiers so you can be a nutcase and drop an atomic bomb. You devils are sick, man. All right, so let me just get one more. We could really go in on this whole Pearl Harbor thing, but just touching on the surface. And I wanted to relate it to our people and our struggle and how we need to have that same mind frame. You bomb us, you kill us, you hurt us, we're going to fight back. And if we can't do nothing now, we're going to wait on the Lord, Zephaniah 3:8, until he get the vengeance, and we're going to destroy our enemies. All right, this is Revelation 13:11. This is why Esau allowed that attack to go down. Revelation chapter 13 and verse 11. And it reads, Revelation 13:13. And I'll get right to the point. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. That's what it was. It was a prophecy. Revelation 13 is going into the Greeks, the Romans, and then eventually America. It's a prophecy that they would, that's the way John is describing it. They would make fire come down from heaven by way of nuclear destruction and shock the world and put everybody in awe that Esau is infallible because he rules by the sword. All right, so he did that great wonder in 1945, August of 1995, and bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki a week apart. Basically killed hundreds of thousands of Japanese, thousands, tens of thousands, whatever embellished number, or not necessarily embellished. There's probably more that died. All right, that's still dying today from the radiation and the pollution, from the psychological. You had Japanese people that were children back then when them bombs happened. You see them in the images running through the street or whatever. They're probably destroyed elderly people now. But Esau doeth a great wonder, said it, that he make fire come down from heaven in the sight of men, and deceived them that dwell on the earth. And that's what he did. He made the so-called fire come down from heaven, and he made an excuse to enter into World War II, to fight against the Japanese. But what must we do as a nation of people is never forget and have that same mind frame where we're willing to fight back. We know we can't do it, but at least have the mind frame. Esau's the sword, he's a man of war, but guess what? The Most High is the man of war. So let's have that same mind frame. Like they attacked that Pearl Harbor. They attacked our Pearl Harbor spiritually. Or physically in some cases. We have to attack them back through the spirit of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. But of course, in Proverbs it says, the horse is prepared against the day of battle, but safety is of the Lord. And it says in Zephaniah 3:8, like I'll just quote him, wait ye upon me till I rise up to the prey. Even Yahushua told Peter when he cut off the centurion ear, Yahushua healed his ear and said, no, Peter, it's not time for that. I can call 12 angels from heaven to bring judgment, but at least have that mind frame. Yahushua said in Matthew 10:34, think not that I am come to send peace, but a sword. So Esau will never forget when he got attacked, he fought back. When we get attacked, we got to fight back spiritually and mentally first and have that mind frame like the sister, even the elderly sister, that one day through the spirit of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, he's going to give us the vengeance. All right, just like Esau, don't forget his Pearl Harbor 75 years later. Let's not forget the least of the crimes they've done to us until the Most High give us that time to get vengeance. So that's it, y'all. I just want to, come to y'all on the late night. Sometimes it's better on the late night because you don't get distracted. You don't get a lot of trolls. You don't get a lot of gainsayers. You don't get a lot of negativity. You don't get stupid questions that have nothing to do with what you're talking about. So I was still up a little bit. I want to just do that little live video for y'all. But that's mainly for us. The hell with Esau and his 75 years of Pearl Harbor. You know, we can go into that and just break that whole thing down and show he's the devil. Or y'all can do your own research and see that. But I want to stress the point that Israel, we got to do better spiritually where we know who our enemies are and we prepared for the vengeance of the Most High upon them. And never forget the injustices that they do to us, like they don't forget the injustice that they do to themselves and they do to each other. All right? Because the Most High is feeding them with their own flesh. Right? So that's it, man. I'm going to sign off, y'all. House of Israel, we got next. Priest Zabach. Just want to come with this live impromptu video. I hope y'all learned something from it. If you learn one thing, I've done my job. Keep in contact with the House of Israel. Zabach 1221. Z as in zebra, A as in apple, B as in boy, A as in apple, C as in cat, H as in hat. Zabach 1221 at yahoo.com. Send in your donations, your tithes, your offerings. Support our travels and our missions. Support the Hanukkah service coming up. And support the work that we're doing. Your support is needed. All right. Spiritually, mentally, physically, but also economically, financially, practically, whatever gifts you have. Support the nation. You can support us at paypal.com. INAC, I as in instinct, N as in Nancy, A as in apple, K as in karate. At 747.com. You can support the garments, the fringes. We have menorahs available now, different things of that nature. Contact us and support HOI on the different levels. And, of course, support us in prayer and fasting and, supporting us with whatever talents, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding you have. That's about it, brothers. Just have a blessed season, Holy Day season coming up. Hanukkah, if you haven't kept it already, some of y'all kept it last month on the it started on so-called Thanksgiving in November for y'all. But for us, it's coming up December 22nd. Most High will do a video on that, explaining the Hanukkah and what dates we're keeping if you want to keep it along with us. Of course, I'll share some information with y'all on that. Also, go to my channel, my Facebook channel, Zabach Kanai, and scroll down my page and look at the Hanukkah video, the 6-part Hanukkah video I did, breaking down Hanukkah and the history of it, the Feast of Dedication. Also, go to Awaken Israel. Awaken Israel on YouTube.com, Awaken Israel, and type in Hanukkah, history of Hanukkah, Pre-Zabach history of Hanukkah. And you'll get the breakdown in the history of the Feast of Dedication. But I'll come back at y'all with the exact dates, what to do. Some of y'all are new, and you don't know what to do exactly. So I'll come to y'all with some of that also. So once again, greetings on the late night tip. All right, Esau don't forget, so let us never forget Israel. All right, the hell with his Pearl Harbor, that was his own self-sacrifice. But we got to give our mind, body, and spirit and sacrifice for the Most High by Hashem and Mashiach Yahushua and be willing to give our lives. Revelations 2:10, fear none of those things that thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison that you may be tried, and you shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and Yahweh by Shema Mashiach Yahushai shall give thee a crown of life. All right, so that's about Israel. Once again, I'm going to sign off. Forgive me. I'm kind of tired. It's been a long day from 6, 7 o'clock this morning till 1 o'clock, after 1 o'clock in the morning, Cali time. So I just want to bless y'all with this video. Hope y'all got some edification out of it. It was impromptu. To quote my brother Bakwash on Hard Rock Truth, something on my mind. Brother Zabach had something on his mind. All right, so I'm going to sign off for real this time, y'all. All right, Priest Zabach, House of Israel, we got next. All the camps in Yahweh and Yahweh Shai throughout the four corners of the earth. Kwame Asha'Allah, hallelujah. We still got next. Shalom.